The other thing that happened was I needed to evacuate my bowels.
Oh, yes. Here we go. So, now we're talking.
Old school house, right? Everyone heard this.
Viewers and listeners beware, you're in for a scare. Today, the DRT boys are talking about horror stories, real life horror stories. So let's get into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the DRT show with myself, James, and my handsome companion over here, Graham. How's it going, buddy?
Mind what I said to you 2 seconds ago about changing my t-shirt, so I'm just going to do it now.
Oh, look, you're just exposing yourself.
I know, but I'd rather just make it. I'd rather just get out in the open first and just be like,
I love this.
Oh, holes in my t-shirt. Oh,
look at that manliness.
I actually only just said to James there 2
handle.
seconds ago that I need to change my t-shirt before we start recording. And then James was like,
Sure
let's
did.
record. And I went, okay. And then I changed it.
Let's go. Let's go. No, so how's it going, buddy? How's your week been?
It is what it is. Like, it's not a whole plan. Same shit,
Tell
different
me
shovels,
about
so they say.
Tell me
I'm
about
having
it.
a fucking
Wow.
flyer a week compared to yourself, isn't it?
My week has just gone from bad to worse, but it's fine. I'm here with this sexy man right now, and we're gonna mix it up a little bit this week. We are gonna do something that we alluded to a couple of episodes ago, and quite a few people have been interested in some spooky stories. So it isn't exactly like spooky season or anything like that, but we both like a bit of ghost hunting. We both like a bit of that sort of stuff. So we thought, rather than talking about games this week, we're going to talk about spooky stories and our own real life experiences with spooky stuff. So these are not like fabricated stories or anything like that. These are just experiences that both myself and Graham have kind of been through, and we're just going to have a little conversation about it and get all spooked up in here. So yeah, there we go.
Spooky time somewhere all the time. And
absolutely.
There's never a bad time to talk about ghosts. And I like ghosts and ghostly stories and stuff. So.
We like
James,
all
let's
the
get started.
spooks.
Where are we going to go first?
Right, so what I want to know, right? So I have a couple of things here that I thought we could chat about to sort of understand maybe where we're coming from, why we believe, and all that kind of stuff. So my first question to you, Graham, was what was your very first spooky experience?
So I'm going to take you on a wee bit of a journey to baby Graham. Right. I was maybe 8 or 9, and during the summer holidays we used to go to Aviemore, which is like north, like Highlands of Scotland. Like, it's just south of Inverness, but I used to go there for summer holidays, and I used to go to a place called Castle Grant, which was outside a place called Granton-on-Spey, which is like a wee town. Anyway, my granny, I liked derelict buildings and all this stuff back in the day, and my granny found this derelict castle that you could go into, right?
Oh yeah.
So we went up there a few times. The place was built in like the 1500s, right?
Oh yeah.
We used to go in there. We used to go exploring, right? My first experience, and I'm no sure because I'm too scared to ask now, because it's either legitimately happened or it's so fucking vivid in my mind that it was just a dream. So basically we were walking about. It was myself, my brother, my big brother, my mum, and my granny, and then I went missing and they couldn't find me, and the castle's like 5 stories, fucking massive. Couldn't find me for ages. Then my mum says she went to the top landing. She could hear me laughing and talking to somebody. And they said they went up a set of stairs, and I was... So imagine like you're in an attic, right? And the floor's completely caved in around you. But in the middle of the attic, there was just a patch, flooring left, with beams kind of gone to it. So I was sat on that, talking to somebody in front of me. And then when my mum called me over, I says, bye, I'll see you next time, and then just pottered along. And Mum's like, who are you talking to? And I said, I was talking to the woman. And then we swiftly left. So that was my first spooky experience. And I'm going to expand on it a wee bit, because
go for it.
I was telling this story to somebody years ago.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me, I was like, oh fuck, I'll check, I'll just look into it and see what happens. So it actually transpires, right, that the place is actually apparently haunted by a ghost called Lady Barbara, who died of a broken heart.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that's who I was talking to.
Wow.
But it's that thing now where, you know, I'm not sure if it was such a vivid dream that I've remembered it as actually happening, or if
you can't be too sure.
So that was my earliest memory, my first memory.
Oh, wow. Mine. So my very first it was a sequence of things really, rather than just like one event or one thing. So I was really small. I mean, we're talking maybe 4 or 5, I think. I was really young. And we moved to this house. So my dad had managed to get a really good price on like this quite nice house, basically, in West Wales. It was quite nice, yes. It had its like own swimming pool. It had lots of grounds. There was a pond. It was quite grand looking inside. I remember there being like a wooden staircase, and it was like quite beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Old school house, couple of 100 years old. And to be truthfully honest with you, I very vaguely remember this house. I've actually got a VHS tape somewhere of this house and like all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so a couple of things were happening in that house. Now, first off, the first thing that sets the tone straight away, and you know there's something up with the house, is there was one door in there that was locked and could not be opened. It had like all the doors in these houses were old school, so they had thick wooden doors, you know, with the sort of paneling on the front and all the rest of it. It was like that sort of house. And I don't remember too much from it. I will tell you one of the experiences I do remember very vividly. But I'll just sort of give you a couple of recollections of what I got told later on by my parents and my uncle, and I'll tell you how my uncle comes into this as well. But anyway, so my mum used to say I had a friend in there, similar to yourself. It was a guy though, right? And like I say, there was a whole thing where I would like be just chatting to nobody, you know, the invisible person or whatever. And I wasn't threatened or anything like that. It was a friendly ghost, a bit like Casper, I suppose. it was a friendly spirit, whatever it was. And apparently I used to chatter away non-stop to this thing. And then there was a couple of incidents that happened. So one of the things that happened was, like I was saying about the pond. Like I said, bear in mind, I was only about 5, and apparently I fell into this pond. There was no parental supervision. Don't ask why. This is just what my mum told me. I don't know. But there was no parental supervision.
With a pond, we make it rich.
That would be great. But I actually fell into this pond, right? And there is absolutely no way, apparently, according to my mother, that I should have been able to get out of this pond. But I did. And when I came out all drenched and soaking wet, I was like, oh, it's okay. My friend helped me out. And this friend that I've been speaking to. So there was things like this going on in the house. And then one thing that I do remember really, really vividly was my family was staying over, and it was quite late at night. I'd been put to bed because, like I said, I was only little. And I remember waking up and seeing a figure at the end of my bed, right? Legit, like proper, as clear as day, not like translucent, not transparent. I saw someone at the end of my bed, right? And they were like, oh, you should come downstairs and come see where everyone is. And I was like, what? And he's like, come with me. And I remember this. I genuinely remember this as clear as day. So I was like, oh, you know, rubbing my eyes and, oh, okay. Got up, and then all of a sudden it got to the top of the stairs, and it was like it went down the stairs but just disappeared. And I was like, oh, where is everyone? And my entire family were in the swimming pool. It was like evening time, whatever. I remember going in there and being like, where'd the man go? I remember that really clearly. We didn't actually end up living in that house too long because my dad used to play jokes because it was known to be haunted, although we didn't know that at the time. It was known to be haunted. And my dad was a bit of a prankster, and he would play tricks on my mother. And apparently the one night there was all like banging and noises coming from upstairs, and my dad had said he was going out to the pub, but my mum thought, bear in mind, that he was just messing about,
having a laugh.
and just having a laugh, just dicking around and whatever. So anyway, he was actually at the house, but there was like hair dryers going off, and there was noises coming from upstairs and banging, and my mum's, bear in mind, sorry, as well, just FYI, there's like 2 years between me and my sister, so my sister would have been about 3.
Okay.
Very, very young, very, very young. And like my sister was apparently getting quite upset. I don't recall any of this, but yeah, there was noises going on, there was banging, it sounded like walking, and my mother was just like stop dicking around, basically. Went upstairs to see what was going on, and my father was nowhere to be seen. And she legit grabbed me and my sister and just left and never went back to the house. She refused to return. So as I was starting the story, I said my uncle, right? So my uncle comes into this story then. So a little bit of time later, my grandparents have all...
Is this your dad's brother or your mum's brother?
No, it's my mum's brother.
Okay.
So
just to see if
again,
he was in same way inclined as your dad.
No, he's a shitter as well, but he's brilliant. But anyway, long story short, so apparently we were looking through photos the one day, and it sounds very cliched to say, but I turned to a photo, and apparently, and he's like, I swear to God you did this, and it creeped me the fuck out, like, but turned to this photo of this person who I'd never met before, and I was like, oh, that's my friend. And it turns out it was my great-grandfather.
Aww.
I know. So my grandmother has always said that I would get along well with my great-grandfather because we are very similar in people, same sort of stature, same personality sort of stuff, all that kind of jazz. And she said, like, he would have loved you. You would have got on really well. And so the jury's out, but my uncle tells me that, that was my great-grandfather. And I was saying, that's my friend from the house. So... There you go. That was my first proper experience of sort of anything ghosty. So,
Can I tell you something weird that happened in this house?
Yes.
So we've been in this house for about 8 years, right? So Cian is 8, Oren is 5. When Cian was young, he used to wake up. Now, so the room that we're in? No, this room actually. It's in this room. This is the room they used to be in.
The one you're in now?
The one I'm in now. There used to be a cupboard there, and Cian's bed used to be here. Cian used to wake up all the time and say, there's a wee girl in my room. She's making noise. She's not letting me go to sleep. Yeah. So basically, we just brought him through, put him down. Everything was fine. Moved on. Like, this happened a few times. Moved on. That was it. Oren comes along, right? He's in this room. We cannot fucking get him to settle in this room to fucking save our lives. Up every night. Every fucking night he's awake. When he's old enough to kind of talk, he told us there's a wee girl in the room who doesn't let him sleep, who keeps wanting to play with him. And since we've moved them rooms, all that stopped. Owen's came up with a couple of times. Oh, did I tell you this before?
No, you've told me, but by all means, please share.
Oh no, I thought I told you that. But it's just weird that they both had the same story. And then fucking another story. Sorry now. Cian came through at me one night when I was next door. So we were in the front-facing bedroom, and Cian had the back-facing bedroom. He came in, and it's just like, that kind of wee poke, like, Dad. Like, what? This is 2 o'clock in the morning, man. He's like, Dad, there's a man in the back garden. I was like, I literally just went, what? He's like, there's a man standing in the back garden. So I was like, right. Didn't panic. Everything's fine. I grabbed the hammer because I have a hammer nearby. That's what my dad taught me.
As you do.
But,
as you do. No. I as you do. I have similar thing. Yeah.
Put Cian to bed. I sat in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like this. For probably like 2 hours, just fucking watching. And when you're just staring into the dark and your eyes start playing tricks on you.
And you're like, I can see someone.
Fully convinced there was somebody standing in the back. And I was like, I'm going to have to go down and sort a motherfucker out.
I'm going to have to be an adult now and sort this out.
Yeah, I'm going to go hammer something. Fuck you. I've been waiting for this.
Oh my god, that is terrifying.
I've not had very, very many spooky instances. Nothing that would. I've got a few stories. Didn't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
but nothing that I could say that happened. I am 100% convinced.
Mm-hmm. And again, I'm very much of the same vein. I don't believe until I see, and then when I go and do these things, and things happen, then I'm inclined to believe. But until then, I go in purely as a skeptic, because again, you've got things like what you were just saying then, where you're looking out the window and you're looking, and your brain is going, "There's something out there. There's something out there." And then, do you know what I mean? It's like that sort of thing. It's a bit like optical illusions and things like that. When you look at it and it's like, oh, this is moving. And your brain just like clicks in and goes, yeah, look, see? You can see things moving. And it's putting the pieces together for you. That's how when you look at like optical illusions, it's like all of a sudden it starts moving or you start seeing something because your brain's trying to work it all out. So there is that as well that, you know, you always kind of have to be a bit mindful of.
See, that's the thing when it always comes to like EVPs and pictures. You know, when somebody's like, oh, look, I took a picture of a ghost. And it's like, where? And they point to just an ambiguous bit on the photograph. It's like, can you not see the head and the shoulders? It's clearly there, right there. The black shape in amongst all the other black shapes. Like, and then the EVP thing, but it's just on. It's like, it's like, did you hear it? It's like, what? It's like, it says, hello, my name's Dennis.
Do you want a cheeseburger with that?
Literally, like.
Well, I will say, I mean, we've had some experiences ourselves. We went and ghost hunted in the nunnery, didn't we?
Well, we went and ghost hunted, but I wouldn't say we had any experiences.
I don't know if I agree with that statement, because there was a few things that happened there that I was a bit like, didn't like that. Didn't like that. There wasn't a great deal. It wasn't the most active place I've ever been to, but there was some things like when so there's a session again, an EVP, where, you know, but you had headphones in. Do you remember?
Oh, at the end, aye.
At the very end. And this is where, for me, all of it kind of happened all at once. So you had headphones in, and then you were being asked questions by the group. Now, you couldn't hear a single thing.
I wasn't being asked. They were being asked to the spirits.
That's correct.
And they were meant to be channeling their answer through the radio through me.
Yeah, and you liked that, didn't you?
I thought it was actually pretty fun. I'm actually glad I got to do it. Yeah. I was raging. You got to go first. I was like, fuck, I'm not going to get a shot.
I know. Well, when I did it, I had a lot of like random answers, but what really got me was... shouted.
I can't even mind what you shouted. You just went, yards, or something like that. But you fucking belted it out.
Everyone shat. Yeah, because that's how it came through. It came through really aggressive, and that's the idea of it, is you're supposed to just repeat what you hear within the sort of white noise, because it cycles through channels and all that kind of stuff. But what really freaked me out was, and there, I think somewhere I've got the footage of it. I've lost a lot of my ghost hunting footage, which I'm quite upset about. Because there was one thing I was literally trying to find yesterday. I went through both of my hard drives. One of my hard drives got corrupted and it broke. But you have heard this. You have heard the EVP, haven't you? I've sent the thing for you from Drakeslow, but I'm digressing here. So what really freaked me out though about the nunnery was we were asking you questions, and every single answer that you gave was clear as day. Not it made complete sense.
I don't know if it was, I don't know, because like I was doing it for about 10 minutes, and there was about 3 things that could be like that did make sense at a stretch. Like I didn't hear what she was asking, but I was at the end where they says, "Did you say this? Did you say that?" Because there's a lot of noise coming through. Like there's no
like it's cycling
just,
through white noise.
Aye, no, but it's picking up radio signals and everything for everywhere.
That's true.
So like, but it was hearing anything.
But it was just the fact that it made sense. Yeah, and granted, you know, it's open for discussion as to whether that is an actual thing that works or anything like that. But
like I'd say,
when I did
questions that were asked, there was like 3 that made sense.
I don't think you're remembering that, right? Because I remember a lot more.
That's what
from you,
says.
from me, maybe. But from you, there was a lot of clear answers. So I don't know.
I mean, she said like she was standing there and we were in complete fucking blackness. And she was like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure I could see like a black figure standing behind you." I was like, "How? How? We're in complete fucking darkness. How can you see a black figure in a fucking dark hall?"
I mean, why not?
She's probably fucking scary or something. I don't know. Yeah, what are you saying? Sorry.
And also, what's your views on Ouija boards?
I thought the Ouija board was bullshit.
Yeah?
And like, again, superstition would dictate that I'm not going to fuck with one because Murphy's Law would dictate that something would happen. But like, that Ouija board session was fucking bogus.
Well, I've had quite a few Ouija board sessions, and I was quite scared to do one for a long, long time. And then I did one. So one of the first places that I am actually going to bring up here, I'm going to just go straight into it, right? Was I went and visited one of, in my opinion, one of the most active haunted places you could go to. So there is a place in Kidderminster in England called Drakeslow Tunnels, right? Now, I originally saw this through Nick Groff. He did a series with Katrina Weidman called Paranormal Lockdown. We have watched the entire series. There's an entire series in the UK.
We have watched many episodes.
We've watched many episodes together. But we saw this one, and well, I originally saw this one. I showed this to you after, didn't I? But I saw this a long, long time ago, and I was like, I need to go see this for myself because the episode was just terrifying, and like you physically see on camera a shadow figure. There's responses. There's things happening. La di da di da di da. So I was like, I want to check this out. So what is Drakeslow Tunnels? So Drakeslow Tunnels is a former top secret underground military complex beneath Kingsford Country Park of Kidderminster, right? The tunnels were built between 1941 and 1942 as a shadow factory for the Rover Car Company.
A shadow factory? Oh shit.
A shadow factory, yeah.
Making shadows.
So they were making shadows.
And they wonder why they saw shadows all over the place.
So the idea was that they were making aircraft engines that were machined in sort of 3.5 miles worth of tunnels, right? So they built these tunnels by blowing stuff up. That's how they did these sort of things, and they are so freaking long, and you can get lost in them so easy. But it didn't just sort of stop there. They were making tanks in it until 1958. And then after that, it turned into a sort of British government facility, basically, where they held prisoners of war. So it's had quite a lot of darkness and depressiveness and sort of all kinds of stuff like that. It just sort of was this place where they were making stuff, holding people, all that kind of stuff. And then through the 80s, Drakeslow operated under a complete secrecy until the end of the Cold War in 1990. And then in 1993, the Ministry of Defense deemed the facility surplus to requirements. So it just kind of ended up being nothing, really. They eventually turned it into a ghost hunting thing quite a few years ago now, maybe 10 odd years ago. And so, like I said, Paranormal Lockdown went there, and it was very interesting to see what went on there. Now, I will agree, it is probably the freakiest place I've ever been to in terms of activity. So, similar to the one you and me went on, there's a company called Haunted Happenings in the UK, and they organize these nights, basically, where you go and you do ghost hunty things. So they got like cat balls, for example. You put them on the floor, and they put like cat balls on the floor and don't touch them, and then see if things light up. Well, again, you could be a skeptic about it. That's absolutely fine. Again, I'm speaking off what I experienced there. Do you know what I mean? Like I
was just Jesus in it, fucking the nunnery.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was continue.
So there was a total of 10 of us in there. There was two guides, and they split our group into 2 teams of 4. Right. So I went with my auntie, and two of my colleagues from work, right? So we went around, they sort of showed us around. My auntie is big into ghost hunting stuff as well, by the way. But this place is underground. There's no electricity in there. Everything is by like power generators and all that kind of stuff, right? So when you're in there and they switch the lights off, it's like pitch black. There is no light seeping through whatsoever, right? It is darkness in there. The only time I've ever experienced darkness quite like it is there's a place not too far away from me called Big Pit, and that's like a coal mine place.
Let me guess,
Wales
it's a big pit.
It's a big old pit, is what it is. Oh, I tell you what, you're clever. You are. You're very clever. And the only time that I've ever experienced darkness like it was down there, where they switch the lights off and there's just pitch black. It's just nothingness. So, anyways, they separate us, and bear in mind there is 3 and a bit miles. What was it? I said 3.5 miles of just separation between us. So they went down the one end and they were investigating in one of the tunnels, and we were right down the other end investigating in one of the tunnels. Now, again, you're underground, so there's no insects, there's no bugs. The doors are like welded shut, basically, apart from like one bolt that goes across it. But when they shut, they're connected, they're shut, there's nothing getting in or out. There was nothing in terms of like bugs or anything like that. The only thing I could say is maybe there was a bit of dust, right? Anyone? No dust.
Damn dust bunnies.
Damn dust bunnies. So we did a couple of vigils in there, and it just felt uneasy. It felt uncomfortable, right?
But that's because you're sat underground in the dark.
Well, no, we weren't in the dark. That's what I'm saying. We had like headlamps and stuff.
Oh.
Because there was no actual light in there. So they said, oh, we got headlamps and all that kind of stuff.
So there's probably bats and rats all over the place.
No.
I guarantee there's something somewhere.
Well, if there is, I didn't see a singular one.
That's because all you had was a headlamp, and rats are black and so are bats, and you were in a big fucking dark tunnel. Sorry, now continue. I'm not trying to...
No. Yeah, it's alright. You can be a shitter. That's fine. shit on my story. But legit, there was a very uneasy feeling in there. And then when we separated, one of the guides took us right down to the other end, and they were like, okay, do like tipping table stuff down here. Do whatever you want. Here's this. Here's that. Here's the other. We'll leave you to it. So we had the voice recorder things. What are they called? EVP. Is there a specific? Is it EVP? Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah,
EVP recorder.
We had our own one of those, and we were recording stuff along the way. So we're in this little area, and I was taking photos, and I caught a couple of orbs, and I can probably show this on screen actually. But as you cycle through. Go on.
No, I remember. I don't know if this is the thing you're talking about. I remember you showing me one thing that was fucking weird. Yeah. I don't know if this is the thing, but I remember.
It might very well be.
Okay.
So I took 4 photos in a row, right? So we had the first photo had nothing, right? The second photo had a little orb. The third photo had a little orb, but it was bigger. And the 5th photo was a very big orb. And then, as far as I'm aware, it disappeared. It was gone. But there was like no dust, because this was like, there wasn't a lot of movement down there. We hadn't kicked up any sort of stuff like that. And I wasn't capturing this on any of the other photos that I took around that area. It was just in these sort of 4 photos that I caught this specific type of dust or orbs or whatever it may have been. Right? Then, during that same point, we were doing table tipping and EVPs, right? Now, at the time, couldn't hear a single thing, but we were recording the entire thing. And when we played it back, you could hear, no word of a lie, a choir singing. You could hear like a proper choir. It wasn't like one guy going, oh, it was like an actual choir that we couldn't hear to our naked ears. Do you know what I mean? Bear in mind, this is like 2 a.m. in the morning, because we did like an overnight thing. You get there at like 10 o'clock at night and you're there till whatever time. So by the time we circled around, saw the entire area, by the time this time came around, we had split up. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning, right? splitting up. That's an awful word that I just used there, but whatever.
Splitting.
We separated. And then all of a sudden we capture this. So we're like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then after a lot of time was up, the tour guide came back. And she was like, oh, everything all right? And we were like, we want to show you something. Can you tell us what this is? Yeah, no problem. So we showed it to her. She's like, oh, that's really weird. And we were like, yeah, I know, right? And she's like, no, not the singing. We were like, what do you mean? She's like, do you know where you're actually under right now? And we were like, no. And she's like, there's a church above us. There's an actual church above us. And the sort of myth or theory to it is that when they were blowing out these mines, they exploded the inside of the mines, and they reckon that it disturbed the church above, causing graves to get disturbed and ground to be messed up or whatever. So they reckon that, yeah, that's why you may experience sort of religious symbols or chanting or whatever there. So that was pretty strange.
It couldn't be there was just some midnight choir gang, and where they blew under the church.
2 a.m. in the morning?
Well, you never know, like, people are fucking weird, like.
I mean,
people
but
do
it
weird
sounded,
things, like,
it was vivid. It was vivid. Haven't I shown you this?
Oh yeah, have I? Aye, but like you said, you
Yeah.
picked it up on the EVP. You couldn't hear it.
But we're underground.
I know why, but that's what I'm saying. Just keep it my fucking thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like, wherever it blew, it could have blew like thinner there. Like, it could only be 5 feet there. Like, acoustics are fucking mad. Like audio acoustics are fucking insane. And with that being nothing but a big fucking acoustic cavern, like, the smallest thing's going to be picked up.
I mean, I don't exactly know. And that's the thing. That with all of this stuff, you got to kind of take it with a pinch of salt, because let's face it, you don't know what's going on.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Time.
You can't
But
say for certain it is this or it is that, because that door could slam shut and you'd be like, oh my god, like, that window was definitely maybe shut, but maybe no, because it's right next to it.
It could have been, could have not been. Who knows?
Who knows?
All I'm saying is that there was a number of things that happened there that really creeped me out.
Like,
And that was one of
I would
them.
need to see something like bang on in front of me. Are you a ghost? Yes. And then
Yes, I am. Whoa.
I am a ghost. Like, I don't know. It'd need to be something like that, because you know you see on all these shows where they're like looking down the hall and it's like, is anybody there? And then it's like, that's all you see. Is like the shit, like this part is somebody gone and coming back again. And that could be anything.
Absolutely agree. And the thing is, like I said, I experienced that. I genuinely feel like there is something going on there, and if they, all that kind of stuff. But that is me, and I think it's one of those things. Unfortunately, you can't go ghost hunting there anymore, because legit, I was hoping that I could take you, because it's honestly the most active place I've ever been. Like, you just feel so uneasy.
Fucking scary. Like, I want to go to fucking, what's it called? 30 East Drive or something.
Silent. Oh, 30 East Drive. I did that one.
No, it's not that one.
It was the asylum.
No.
It was the asylum.
The
orphanage asylum.
The monks.
Oh, the Black Monk's house. Yeah, 30 East Drive. Yeah,
was that
I
the same
did that
thing?
one. It was. Yeah, 30 East Drive and the Black Monk's house is exactly the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's fair enough.
I did that, and I mean, there was kind of stuff going on there, but nothing really.
Is this no where you got your body looking in the mirror and there's a shape?
No, that is the next one that I was going to talk about, which was the Ancient Ram Inn.
Ooh. No, the noodles.
That is
the ram as in the male sheep, and the inn.
Ram as in the sheep. Yeah.
The inn as in 2 inns in.
As in no room in the inn.
Why is the old ramen or the ramen? What's it called?
Ancient Ram Inn. Okay, so I'm just gonna read a little bit of this, and I will definitely be able to show some photos and videos because my Google Drive saves videos, so I actually have some videos of this place. Now, this place is old as fuck.
Hence the name Ancient.
Ancient. Right, so the Ancient Ram Inn, right, was thought to date from around 1145, right? And it has been suggested that the workmen who built the parish church opposite were lodged here. Right? So it served for a time as a priest's house before converting into an inn. Its last pint was pulled in 1968.
Ooh.
Once it had closed for business, John Humphreys purchased the building from the brewery, and he fought a perpetual battle to save the historic structure right up until his death in 2017. Irrespective of his endeavors by the former residents who interfere as much as possible. So, there are two entities supposedly there. One is a Wiccan witch, druidy type person, and the other one is known to be this priest who, by all accounts, takes on the form of a succubi. Is it or
A succubus. They're women.
a succubus? No, what's the male version? I'm sorry, I should have prepared
A
this
blowy
bit.
bus. I don't know.
Well, it is a succubus, I believe. I think I was right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
a
succubus
warlock
was
minion.
Gender specific.
Incubus. There you
Or incubus. Or like the band. that
like the
suck.
band.
Anyway,
Like the band.
there's an
So
incubus.
yeah. So the bishop's room is where I actually did have quite a lot of activity, and this is on the first floor of the Ram Inn, and it's known as being the most terrifying room.
You turn the light back on.
Spirit, if you're here, put the light on. Spirit, come on, we know you're here. Show us by switching on the light.
I'll count you down, Spirit. 3, 2, 1.
Come on, Spirit, use our energy. Switch that light back on. Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit.
Can you show us that you're here by switching it off again, please? Spirit, switch the light off. Use our energy. Switch it off.
That's it, Spirit.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Okay.
Turn the light right off for us, Spirit.
Come on.
Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you talk to us through the Ouija board, Spirit?
If you can communicate with us through the Ouija board, Spirit, turn the lights back on and we'll go back on the Ouija board.
Power it back on if you want us to talk through the Ouija board.
Yeah?
Okay.
You're not sure?
Switch it on if you think we should be doing that.
Do you want to communicate through the Ouija board? If you do, turn the light back on.
Okay, keep turning it brighter. You turn it on brighter.
Turn it on as bright as you can.
Thank you.
That's
Spirit.
it. Keep trying. Use our energy.
Keep trying.
Downloading the Spirit box now. See if it'll work.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you.
Keep the light on for the minute.
Okay, we'll go back to the board.
Go. I'll show you the Spirit box I got there, man. That's why I was copper, isn't it, before? You hear, Spirit? Spirit, you here with us? What's your name, Spirit?
So apparently there's a medium pushing door open. It was once lifted off the ground basically and flung across the corridor. And if you see the original doors and stuff in this house, it is pretty unnerving.
But this is somebody
just the
saying this
entire-
happened. This never happened to you. This is somebody saying
This
Oh,
is
this
what
happened.
they're saying, yeah. So
Okay.
I'll go into what happened to me there. So apparently a murder also took place there. Well, there are a little bit more than that as well, but I'll go into that in a second. So apparently the attic is quite haunted. And again, I think Ghost Adventures went to this location in one of their very early series of the show. And they actually have some of the footage and the documents from that time. When people have been seen, like there's a woman in the window, all that kind of stuff.
classic.
It's classic, yeah. So the innkeeper's daughter is said to have been murdered in the roof space in the early 1500s, and people attempting to sleep in the bishop's room below often hear the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor above their heads.
So I see some heavy banging noises.
Well, that's if me and you were sharing the room, Graham. You know,
Some heavy breathing, some heavy banging. Dragging these balls over your face. And what you saying?
So yeah, but not only God damn it. So not only that, there are lots of things that have gone on in this house. They've also found remains of children that have been buried around there, which is supposedly meant to have haunted the house. Now, this was something that actually really affected me while I went in there, because there was a grave that was dug up, and it was they took the bones away from the house and all that kind of stuff. However, you want to sort of talk about residual energy and all that kind of stuff. Like, I walked past the grave because it's not too far. You basically walk through the front door. On the right hand side is the little kitchen, and then you're literally in amongst it all. And there's a grave right by there that they've left open because there's nothing in there now.
Okay.
But I walked past that and I nearly threw up. I got so nauseous, and I'd felt completely fine like the whole time. I walked through the door and all of a sudden this wave of nausea just hit me, and I had to leave for like a good 10 minutes. And I couldn't go near that area because it really did make me feel sick. And like, I'm being serious here. And the rest of the house I was fine in terms of that. But there was something about this spot. It just made me feel sick as a pig. So, I mean, when you're thinking about energies and all that kind of stuff like that, I mean, would that have caused that? I don't know. I'm just sort of saying what happened to me while I was there. But so by this time, I think it was 2019. It was definitely before the pandemic hit, because I know we weren't walking around with masks and stuff on. But there was loads of stuff around. There was like, so there used to be, obviously it used to be a bar, so they got like a bar area that's still got like the original kegs and whatever from the 1100s or whatever it is. There's a barn area where somebody has supposedly hung themselves back in the day and whatever. Some weird stuff went on in that barn as well. Like you're saying about like seeing figures and shadows and
Some
all
weird
that kind of
kinky
stuff.
stuff happened in that bar.
Yeah, like I swear to God, I felt someone like prod me in the back in there.
Oh,
Again, might have been psychosomatic. I don't know. I felt someone prod me though. So take that as you will. Do you know what I mean? It was very unnerving. I mean, the scariest part was going up the bloody stairs because they're old school as anything. I mean, like proper like old school stairs, creaky, noisy, hollow, horrible. And there was some demons.
There's a demon.
There were some demons that got released in this house. So, so I obviously said as I walked through the front door, I felt really sick. The other thing that happened was I needed to evacuate my bowels.
Oh,
pretty-
yes. Here we go.
So,
now we're talking.
old school house, right? Everyone heard this. Right, so just imagine Dumb and Dumber.
So basically, there's an
Lloyd.
exorcism happening in the bathroom right now.
A demon was released, Graham.
You know what the funny thing is?
Demon.
There'll be somebody downstairs recorder going, can you hear that?
anybody here?
Can you hear that? And all you hear is like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And that's them convinced now, like, and they're talking to their pal, like, this really fucking happened. And here's you fucking blowing the pair fucking bathroom to pieces.
Dropping trout and go into town and christening that bowl. But
And I'd say it was the old school plumbing as well, so you'd probably have to fucking flush it about 18 times to fucking get it to
oh
go.
yes, I had to flush it a good couple of times. It was grim.
Just
it
by
was
the way,
grim.
this is next week's clip.
Just James desecrates the toilet.
Just
Yeah.
10 seconds. That's it. Just
Ghost
needs
hunt.
to be 20
Ghost hunts. No, just James desecrating the
Oh.
toilet.
Ghost hunts. No, James is taking fucking tours of ancient toilet bowls.
So one of the things about this place, I'm bringing this back in. One of the things about this place, right, is they reckon that this is on a ley line. So how much do you know about ley lines?
Very little. It's starting to do like an energy flow or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, basically it's just energy forces that are going through the thing. But it lines up with Stonehenge, which apparently is all part of the ley lines and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, ooh. So there's lots of stuff going on with this building and all that kind of stuff. And there's been a lot of ghost hunting stuff that's also been going on there too. So yeah, it was a really good location. And if you wanted to go there,
Yes.
I wouldn't be adverse to
Yes.
sort of looking into it
Yes.
because it was pretty creepy. I'd say that this was better than the Black Monk's house.
What I'd like to do is, I know you visited one, is I'd like to go to a prison.
Oh yeah.
I think a
Yeah.
prison or an asylum.
So there's one in Liverpool that I really want to visit. Liverpool.
Have you heard the cat meowing in Liverpudlian accent?
I have.
Very funny.
I have.
Sorry now. Continue.
No, it's
There's
fine.
a spooky place in Liverpool.
There is. I believe it's called Newsham Park. Yeah, Newsham Park. It is Newsham Park. Oh, is it orphanage? There you go. Orphanage. Sorry, I didn't look this one up beforehand because I've not been here. But it's an old school building in Liverpool that was an orphanage and a hospital for the mentally unwell.
Ooh.
Supposedly truly terrifying, frightening, and very active as a building. And there's lots of hidden corridors, wards, and of course the infamous naughty boys of the corridor. Ooh, that's Graham if I ever saw it. Just ah. I could definitely see you doing that. I know. So yeah, that is one that I genuinely feel like that is one we should go on together because I've never been. I'm more
than happy to go wherever.
I mean, it's quite a popular one by the looks of it because a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at here, I'm just on Haunted Happenings website as we're talking about this because that's where all the info is about this place. But there are very limited places selling out quite consistently.
Well, to be fair, it's not going to be till next year. I could realistically come over anyway.
You're absolutely right. And why is that, Graham? Because we're going to Portland.
And we're going to see some spooky shit over in Portland. There's one last story I'm going to talk about now. What are you going to say there?
I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Go for it.
So I'm over in Cork. I've been over here for 8 years. My first gig over here was in a place called the Maldron Hotel on Shandon. And working here would have been the thing has been the best thing to convince me, because I've had a few weird experiences here. So this hotel was 2 separate buildings. It used to be a hospital run by nuns back in the day. So loads of weird shit happening. Where the gym is where the morgue used to be, right?
Ooh.
So I got shown a clip of CCTV. Now this is where it gets a bit iffy for me because it's somebody's recording their phone, who's recorded a phone, who's recorded a screen. So they've no
Great.
sent over, it's not just a straight record sent over the clip, whatever. So it's like a phone and a phone on a screen.
Of
Right.
course.
Where you can see this, like, they've got a pool in the middle. They see this shadow coming out of a door, and then it looks like the water gets disturbed, and then that's it. So that's like the kind of creepiest thing, right?
And that's convinced you.
No, that's not convinced me. This I'm going to tell you now is convinced me. So I used to be a night porter, and working there, I used to have to know, or have like a rough idea how many people were in the hotel, how many families, how many kids, fucking how many people are in stags and hens and so on and so forth. So this one night I was in, I knew there was only one kid staying, one child staying. So my duties were kind of in the reception, in the bar, kind of going about the place, making sure everything's alright. There's a wee kid, he's running about the bar, having the fucking time of his life, having a fucking absolute yeehaw time.
Hi, Graham.
Aye. And then the mum was like, "Oh, who's the other wee girl that's staying?" And I was like, "Oh, there's nobody that I know who's staying. It might just be a local." So I kind of left him. I could hear him running up and down, screaming, blah blah blah. 12 o'clock, everybody goes to bed. Bar gets shut. About 1:30, I get a phone call to reception, and as I'm picking up the receiver, I can hear screaming down the phone. Now, I mean, like, I've just taken the handset off the fucking phone, and it's like that, right? I can hear
Was
the
it someone
kid.
on the toilet? Are you sure it wasn't just
It
someone
was
trying to take
James
a huge
taking
dump?
a shit in the
It was
ancient
me.
ramen.
Yeah. There you go.
Or it was this kid screaming in the room, and the mum
boy.
is frantic on the phone saying, "My son has seen the wee girl in the room and she's no leaving them alone. What will I do?" And I was like, "What do you mean?
What girl?
Like, what
girl?
will I do? I don't know what you'll fucking do. Tell me fucking cop on. Give him a fucking quick belt across the back of the head and get to fucking bed,
Come
you
on,
bellend."
son.
Aye.
Off you go.
But I thought that was weird.
Parenting.
But
was great.
following on for that,
Okay.
there's meant to be the ghost of a nun who is meant to look after the spirit of the wee lassie, and she's meant to protect him from like a bad man spirit.
Ooh.
And so I had all this in my mind, and now I was working here when this movie The Nun came out. So I had all these fucking images flying through my head, right? And there's a woman who was a local, and we were kind of talking about it because, as you do, it's a big talking point how haunted the place is. She was like, "Do you want to see her?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, I can show you a picture of her." And I thought she meant the ghost. So I was like, "Aye, fucking show me." The GM of the place, before I started working there, was a big history buff in Cork. He loved Cork history because Cork's got a fucking massive history. So you had all these different pictures, all these different places, and all these different historical events in Cork. One of these pictures was the gates with all the nuns lined up who used to work there. And the woman says, "That's her. That's who's haunting the hotel. She's looking after the wee girl and protecting her for this bad man."
That is a big old nope right there. Nope.
But she told me her name and everything. But there was loads of weird stuff that happened in that hotel for me. Like, that was the closest I've ever become to being convinced that there is something happening. Like, I heard voices, I heard running, I heard singing, I heard doors opening and shutting, I saw a door opening and shutting. Like, but I don't know.
So, before you got, I believe it was before that you got the gig that you got now, you worked in another hotel.
I've
Right?
worked in many hotels.
Okay, so I'm talking about where you got married.
Oh, before that, aye,
hotel.
Ruston Park, aye.
Yeah, that's it. So, I remember when you were working nights, there was one night where you and Sean were doing the night shift, and you something about an elevator.
Oh no, that was in the Maldron as well.
Oh, that was in the Maldron.
Aye, so it was the two buildings. There was like a newer building, and then an older building. So what they've done is they've just kind of bought the two buildings, demolished the
Right.
wall in between the two, flared it all,
yeah.
and then they've basically just made it like one.
Just
big
allowed
thing.
the spooks in, basically.
Basically,
yeah.
just to make sure they can all fucking mingle, like, diversity and that shit. So the newer side had 5 floors, so the lift went from ground to 5. The old side
Okay.
had all the odd numbers, so it had ground 1, 3, and 5.
Mm.
And the lift in the old side, which was the nun side, it kept moving up and down all night, like all the time. It would go up to 3, and then it would come down, and then up to 3, and it would stay there, and then come back down. But the third floor of this side of the building was where it was meant to all be fucking haunted. It was all meant to be like the psychiatric ward and stuff like that. Didn't get me wrong. Like when the lassie phoned with our kid screaming down the phone, she was in one of the rooms on that side of the building. So I was like, meh. There's a story of a lassie being dragged out of bed by the hair in one of these rooms.
That's a common one.
There's a guy who came down one night, or came down one morning. I was like, oh, chatting away, blah, 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 blah. How did you find it? He was like, is this place haunted? Like, he just asked bluntly, he's like, is this place haunted? And I was like, oh, fuck, I was like, I never said fuck. But I was like, it's meant to be, like, there's stories. And he was like, because I was in bed last night, right? And he said it this bluntly, like, imagine big fucking construction
Big
worker.
Joe.
He's about
Yeah, Big
6'5", tall and
hands.
fucking
Yeah.
wide. He was
Yeah.
like, he was almost complaining. He was like, it was 2:30 in the morning, and my bathroom light went on. So I go up, I switched it off, I go back into bed, and it went back on again. And then he says, so what I done was, I lay in my bed and I says, whoever's fucking with the light, better stop it. He got up, turned the light off, went back to bed, and that was it. But he was just how bluntly he was. He was like, whoever's fucking about with the light, just fucking stop. And then it
Yeah,
stopped.
just give it a rest. We're not cool with that. My
But I
God,
was,
yeah,
it
there
was
is
a riddle,
there is so many things like that. Like I'm gonna pretty much leave it on this little nugget, right? But I work in one of the last asylums left in the in Wales. I think there's still ones open in England, Scotland, probably in Scotland. But I work in one of the last sort of asylums in Wales, and I have had an unbelievable amount of stuff go on, similar to what you were just saying with the light on and off. That's why I thought I'd bring it up, because there was one night, because I work regular nights, there was one night where we have obviously censored lights for a lot of the areas and stuff like that, and the light came on in the shower room randomly in the night. Now, what was funny is me and my colleague both noticed it. So I was like, go see what that's about. Because you don't know if a patient quickly ran in there or whatever. Anyway, long story short, she went up there and checked. And as she went up there, the light went off. And she like walked out the front by the shower to have a look. And the light just went out. Now, she walked away and the light went back on. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's a dodgy light or something like that.
Maybe the sensor's installed in the wrong place.
Maybe. I went up and had a look. Same thing happened. We did this about 2 or 3 times, and it did that. And then all of a sudden, the light just didn't come back on again. No, sorry, the light did come back on. It just stayed on then. Just randomly. And I've never seen that again since. It was just like a one-off random thing. Because they're set to, if they go off, they're meant to stay on for a certain amount of time.
Oh, right off.
But this was like legit going off like every other second. I was like, that bulb's dodgy in there. But it wasn't. Nothing needed to be changed. It worked completely fine after that. You know, it was just one of many things that have gone down. So yeah. Spooky places. There we go.
Spooky places.
So
There's fucking loads more we could talk about, but I'd say we'll leave it for another episode.
I was just going to say, I could actually sit here for the next couple of hours and just go on and on and on about some of the experiences. Because like I said, I've experienced a lot more places as well than what I've spoken about. Graham has got a lot more stories that he could share, but we'll leave it there. So, before we go, Graham.
Yes.
I want to know.
I want to know what love is.
I want to know what love is, and I want to know what your thoughts were on last week's episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I only watched last week's episode about an hour ago.
You are joking.
Aye, I forgot all about it. I've been all over the place this week.
Oh.
I thought it was funny. I thought
it was a
very
fantastic
fucking good. I thought it was
episode.
amazing. I wouldn't say it was amazing. It was very funny. It was very
Oh,
good.
no,
what they
I
done.
loved it.
Why
I
men and
actually
women
barely
kinda
laughed
get on
at
with each
this
other.
one. Yeah, there was a lot of that sort of stuff. So in this episode, Dee is trying to get away with bowling. I like how at the beginning they're just completely ripping into her, you know, because she wants money, and then they're like, "You want money that you don't earn," and all that kind of stuff, and then they're just ripping into her and like, "Oh, that's lame," and she's like, "Yeah, whatever. You guys hanging around here with your hands down your pants." And you're like,
I had to push it to the left.
Yeah, I was holding it too. Yeah, me too.
Aye.
But
Gullible.
there was
Gullible.
so many. Yeah, there was so many good parts.
I like how they got kind of the other people involved as well. So like it was the fucking
McBoyles.
McPoyles. Oh,
McBoyles.
Jesus Christ,
Boyles.
the McPoyles
I can't-
and Snail, Gail the Snail. I like how they
Snail
kind
the
of get these characters in every now and again, because like
I
the
love
Poyles, I thought they were fucking amazing. Like it's like
I know.
I bruised my finger quite badly.
I know. Yeah. Why they're not allowed? What was it? Chili cheese
Aye.
fries or
Aye.
whatever. Yeah.
Really
And he's eating it from the bowling ball.
Oh man,
He's
it's
you
gross,
can't-
but he
you
fucking...
can have chili, you can have fries, you can have cheese, but you just can't mix them
Aye,
together.
aye,
And he's
it's
like,
perfect.
so he puts it all in like a
Oh,
bowling ball. And he's
it
like,
was
"You know, it
fucking
is
gross
brilliant."
because every time it turned, it would slop out and then go around and slop it a bit more. Oh god.
The bit I proper belly laugh though is where he's like, so there's a bit of rivalry between the waitress and Dennis, and she's like, "Oh, I'll challenge you to punch in this thing. It's like
Oh,
one of
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
balls that you smack, and you get like a whatever. It's like a score points thing." So she does it, and it's like 800 points or whatever. And then he's like, "What was it? I assert my manliness," or something like that. And he smacks it and gets like the top score, and he's like, "Yep, every bone in my hand is broken. Something
Aye.
else is gonna
He
happen.
called it like
I'm
a
gonna
fucking
scream."
cartilage soup.
Yeah, it's like a college soup, and yeah, I'm gonna have to walk away now because I'm gonna scream. Nope, I'm gonna scream. Ah! Fantastic episode.
very good.
I thought it was really funny. So yeah, but there you go.
There you go.
So guys, I hope that was a little bit enlightening into our little spoopiness and our interest within the spoopy world.
I will say,
Would you like
if you're
to see
listening
more?
on audio, I'd say maybe watch YouTube, or we might clip it up separately because James has got a lot of footage. I've not got anything really I can throw up, but James has got a lot of stuff that he can share. So
I am going
I would
to
recommend
throw-
watch it on the old YouTubes as well.
I am going to throw some images up as I'm going through a lot of this sort of stuff. Yeah, because I've got actual photos that I've taken, so I'll just share them with you all. Actual photos.
Oh man, sorry no, but this is the last thing I'll tell you. There's a picture that I took. So this is when I used to work in a hotel in Scotland at the Mount Royal, right? And this was me dicking around. This is a place I'll leave for another episode because I had a lot of weird experiences here before.
Oh yeah.
I was standing in a hallway that's supposedly haunted, and I took a picture, and I got one of these apps, you know, where it's like, oh, add ghosts to your photos. So I'd done that,
yeah.
and I managed to make it like, you know, I reduced the opacity just enough to make it look like it was part of the actual picture, because I was like,
Oh, right,
really
okay.
fucking 15 years ago when phones were shite.
Yeah.
So as a joke, I showed somebody it who believed it. So then I was just like, I'm going to see how far I can push this. So I went to the guy who basically can talk the fucking an air raid siren to scrap. And he just I showed him it and he was like, "Can you send me that?" And literally about 50 minutes later, I was getting fucking phone calls for supervisors, for other people, for the fucking GM, all wanting to see the picture. Is it real? And I was like, yes, it is a picture that I took. Yes, it is a real picture that I took.
Yeah, just
Leaving it
being
like that,
completely,
like- and
literal,
then-
like, yes, I did this. Yes, this is a thing.
So the GM called me his office and I went down and he was like, "So that's legit?" And I was like, "Aye, I took that picture last night, aye." And like, you know when you think you kind of dug yourself into a hole and you can't get out? I was
no
like,
one can know about this.
I just
This
kept
goes to the
digging.
grave.
I was like, yes, I took that picture. And then he was like, oh my god, like
Oh, no.
he was wanting to get fucking mind the fucking what was the ghost one over here? Most haunted.
Most haunted.
He was
oh,
wanting.
God,
He was
yeah.
like 2 fucking minutes
Derek
away from
Okora,
calling
quick,
name.
Come on now.
He was like 2 minutes away from getting name in. But it was fucking hilarious. I'll find the picture and I'll show you.
That is pretty
It's
funny.
amazing. But that's what
Yeah,
I share.
do so. Yeah. So we'll probably do another one of these around sort of Halloween season-y sort of time. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Unless there's enough interest generated.
Yeah, unless you want to see more, let us know down in the description below. Description below. Sorry, my words are failing me now. So anyways, if you enjoyed this, give us a like, give us a follow, give us all the fun stuff.
You'll find us
We
on
also
Instagram,
have-
YouTube, Pornhub, OnlyFans, Spotify.
I was gonna say Pornhub. We don't give that stuff away for free, Graham. You
That's
know this.
teasers. That's why I went Pornhub's OnlyFans.
Oh,
Like,
only
you know,
toes.
you flash the goods, you give the goods.
That's right.
Go on, James.
You get a teaser. You get to see Graham's armpits with that sexy shirt he's got on. There you go. Look at that. You could get more of this sort of stuff. Look how beautiful he is. It's great. So yeah, we also have merch available. Links will all be down in the description below.
Oh, this is never merch. This is another t-shirt. This is an old t-shirt. This is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Our shirts are a lot more better quality.
Our
Prints
shirts are better.
ripped. Yeah, he's just ripped in it. Okay, beautiful. Anything else, Graham, before we shoot?
Fuck all, James. It's been a blast. I love these weekly chats that we have.
It's my favorite time of the
The
week.
funny thing is, like, how we were talking now is how we would have been speaking if we weren't recording.
Always.
Aye.
Exactly. That's why I hope people enjoy this, because this is just what we do. We do what we do.
It's what we do. It's what men
Just
do.
literally, yeah, we do what men do. That's right. So yeah.
But no. Thanks, man. We'll see you next one.
Yep. Thank you. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.
Bye.